You're listening to the Awkward High-Five podcast. You can follow along in your book. You'll know it's time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this.
Bingo, man, bingo. 7-minute abs. And we guarantee just as good a workout as the 8-minute folk.
You guarantee it? How do you do that?
If you're not happy with the first 7 minutes, we're going to send you the extra minute free. See, that's it. That's our motto. That's where we're coming from. That's from A to B.
That's right. That's good. That's good. Unless, of course, somebody comes up with 6-minute abs, then you're in trouble, huh?
No, not 6. I said 7. Nobody's coming up with 6. Who works out in 6 minutes? You won't even get your heart going, not even a mouse on a wheel.
Good point.
7's the key number here. Think about it.
Right.
7 11s,
yeah.
7 dwarfs. 7, man, that's the number. 7 chipmunks twirling on a branch, eating lots of sunflowers on my uncle's ranch. You know that old children's tale from the sea? It's like you're dreaming about gorgonzola cheese when it's clearly brie time, baby. Step into my office.
Why?
'Cause you're fucking fired.
Well, you don't like the bottle rockets anymore?
No, I love the bottle
Why are you
rockets.
shaking your head?
No, because I knew it was coming.
Welcome to the Awkward High-Five podcast. My name is Devin.
And Ritchie.
That is Richard over there. He's comfy on his little stool.
Yeah.
Awkwardhigh5.com is the website that you need to go to listen to these episodes. That is now totally up and running. I think I said this last time. I don't know if I did or not.
Yeah, you explained the whole thing.
I did. Okay. Well, if anyone's just so you guys know, since it's new, but now the website's up. So instead of having to go to SoundCloud or iTunes or Stitcher or all these other crazy things that we're on, you just go to awkwardhigh5.com. That's awkwardhigh5. 5 is the word 5 spelled out, not the number. .com, and then all the episodes are right there. If you want, you could stream or download right there. Or if you want to go to iTunes or anything, you can click on the links. You can send us an email. You can send us you can call us. Do all that good stuff. And we're on Twitter at awkwardhigh5, which is awkward HI and the number 5.
Oh, we decided to tweet?
Oh, we're tweeting. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was Instagram.
Oh, no, yeah, we're not Instagram now. Yeah. We can Instagram, but I don't know. You know, there's so many friggin' things out there now. You got to kind of bring it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
I actually just, I don't know, I found some type of new thing on the computer where I found somebody posted a picture of Lou Diamond Phillips putting some popcorn into a science oven, and I almost lost it.
Yeah, that was on our... Okay, here we go. So what you were looking at was our Facebook page.
Yeah.
The Awkward High-Five on Facebook, which if you guys haven't... you know what? I hate having to, like beg for these likes and stuff like that, but and I'm not that type of person. Like, in my personal life, I could give a shit how many people I have friends on Facebook or followers on Twitter or any of that shit. But since we're trying to grow the show... You know, I kind of feel like sleazy saying that. And I'm not sitting there like trying to be like, oh, like our Facebook, follow us on Twitter. It's the only reason is to kind of just grow the show organically. And you know what I mean? It's not to be like, oh, we want a whole bunch of people. I mean, whoever listens, that's fine. But we do want to kind of get it out there more. So, you know, that kind of thing. But yes, what you were on, first off, is called the internet. I don't know. Have we touched on this yet?
Yeah.
It's a place where people can go online. And on that internet, there's a site called Facebook. And our show here, what we're doing right now is called a podcast.
I clicked on it.
Yeah, okay. You clicked on the podcast?
I clicked on the website.
Okay. What you're talking into right now is called a microphone.
Uh-huh.
And it's running through this thing called a mixer into this little contraption here called a laptop.
I hope there's not a quiz, because...
No, there is. There's going to be a quiz.
Oh, man.
And on this laptop, if we were someplace with a Wi-Fi connection and not in your apartment...
There is one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There, I always forget. Oh, anyway, you could go on the internet, and there's a site called Facebook, and on Facebook, you can get in touch with your friends and your family. Actually, I know for a fact that you are on Facebook.
I am on Facebook, yes.
Do you have somebody do that for you, or do you do it yourself? You can...
When I first did it, I think I had some assistance.
Okay.
But I'm starting to learn the ways.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so then where you did is somehow you made it to our page, the Awkward High Five.
Yeah.
Business page, if you will, on Facebook. And what you saw on there was a post from one of our listeners who put a picture of Lou Diamond Phillips taking a popcorn out of the microwave. Mm-hmm. And that cracked you up, huh?
It definitely cracked me up.
You were loving every second of that?
Just because, Lou Diamond Phillips' face,
yeah.
Happy Ritchie, he'd put that popcorn down. He'd put his guitar down to pick up that popcorn.
Oh, so you're seeing that Lou Diamond Phillips taking the popcorn out of that science oven as the Richie Valens Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah, like he was going to take it to the silhouettes while he was going, oh, 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 and then eat the popcorn.
Wait, what Richie Valens song was that?
Oh, when they put him in that band, but the guy's jealous, so he throws him in the back of the cut while he's ripping the guitar, but the guy's like, I'm the leader of the Silhouettes.
Oh, the name of the band was the Silhouettes?
Yeah, and that saxophone player wanted to be the lead man, so he's so jealous of Richie. And Richie was in the back, and, he was probably the popcorn eater at that moment.
I'm going to be honest and let you know that I don't know the movie La Bamba as well as you do.
Really?
I know you're a huge fan of it, and I also enjoy it. I've seen it a few times, but I know you watch that on a pretty regular basis.
And you know what? My favorite scene of that, I pretty much fast forward the whole entire movie until I see Marshall Crenshaw cover Buddy Holly's Crying, Waiting, Hoping, because that could be the best cover I've ever seen in my life, because that is an amazing
Wait,
cover
so who does
song.
this cover?
Marshall Crenshaw. He's like a Buddy Holly, that's his whole shtick.
He's a Buddy Holly imitator. I almost said intimidator.
Yeah, impersonator. Yeah, and
like he's somebody who's gonna walk up and be like, I know you don't have two front teeth, motherfucker. Give me all your money."
We know those chiclets are in there. But,
I know that's chewable gum right there, and that's not front teeth.
Exactly. But Marshall Crenshaw is an amazing, amazing singer and plays his guitar way better than Buddy Holly.
Well, was Buddy Holly ever really considered a guitar player? I don't think he was just he was just a bar chord strummer. He wrote songs, but
yeah, he was the guitar player of the band, but. It was
there wasn't another cricket in there that was a guitar player?
There was a bass player and there was a drummer, and I think it was just
Oh, really? I always thought that was a 4-piece.
Yeah, no.
I thought there was somebody holding down everything in the back, and then Buddy Holly kind of had the but that's I don't know. What about the Gary Busey Buddy Holly? Terrible.
But my favorite part was when they're eating dinner and he's like, "Let me get a drumstick and another drumstick." It's like, homie, you love the dark meat.
I always felt bad for the Big Bopper because he didn't get his own movie. I felt like they could have made that the trilogy of that plane crash. Richie Valens had his movie, Buddy Holly had his movie. I know Big Bopper was third billing there, but give the fat man his fucking due. Give him a movie, and then that way you could bundle it all into one DVD and call it the tragic plane crash fucking DVD.
Besides Bob. Big Bopper kind of stole that show when...
Hello, baby.
Yeah, he kind of stole that show when Buddy Holly was on stage and Big Bopper's backstage, and they just show him in the distance, and he's lip-syncing, crying, waiting, hoping, and every time that part happens, I rewind. It's just the way he sings. It's hilarious. But I'm sure there's not too many La Bamba listeners out there, so, feel my love.
I'm sure there's a lot of La Bamba people out there. As a matter of fact, the actual song La Bamba became like mega famous after that movie came out because what was the band?
Los
Lobos covered it for the movie, and then that became like a huge hit. I mean, that was a big movie. It's not like you're watching, that was like a big movie for the time. That was certainly a much bigger movie than the Buddy Holly story.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the not made Big Bopper story. Now, if I was a young guy back then, hip cat, and I was at that show, I don't know. I might be the type of dude who'd been like, I don't know, all those guys are cool, but I do like the Hello Baby guy the best.
Yeah.
Although you don't know any.
But Jerry, I don't know if Jerry was on that show, but Jerry Lee Lewis, holy crap!
The Killer. Yeah, no, that's a totally different thing. I'm just talking about the 3 dudes that died.
No
in that plane
one
crash.
follows the Killer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, just the 3 guys that died in that plane crash. But I don't know any of the Big Bopper's other songs.
When I actually did my Bob research to see if Bob was alive, because
all right, I just want to say I can't believe it's episode 14 and we're still talking about Bob from La Bamba.
Because I just love Bob.
No, I get it. I love him too.
I love his steez, especially when he's riding that motorcycle in the beginning, like, who do you love? That's some inspirational shit, man. I was about to buy a motorcycle because of that part.
Oh my god, you in a motorcycle?
But just that scene, and he was gonna be Richie's drummer and everything. Like, I don't know, I feel bad for Bob, but at the same time, it's Bob.
Do you feel well? But you can't. I mean,
it's a movie.
How can you feel bad for him? He got put into a movie.
Yeah.
It's not like Richie Valens ended up having like this giant career. Unfortunately, he probably would have, but he died in that plane crash. So
yeah.
But if Bob was in the band, he probably would have been dead. I don't know how many people actually died in that. Was it just the 3 or was there bandmates with him? Like the Crickets didn't die, right?
No. Just
those 3, right?
Yeah. And the pilot, obviously.
Yeah. That would be a cruel twist of fate if the pilot
lived.
The pilot. Yeah. Man, I can't fucking talk today.
It's all right.
Yeah. Oh, man. Speaking of technology.
Great.
Yeah, I know. Don't get intimidated.
So you talk.
Science and technology.
You will talk, and I'll get my textbook open.
Okay. Yeah. Get it. That better be college ruled.
Yeah. It will be college rules, or nowadays I'll get my laptop.
Do you think? I'm going to do a joke here, and this always kills in the clubs. Are you ready?
All right. I hope I get it.
Do you think that ex-frat guys, guys in their 30s who are ex-frat guys, when they look at a college ruled notebook, they think, "Yes, it did, notebook. Yes, it did."
Oh, because it rules them?
Oh, thanks.
I got you.
You'd have just laughed.
I got you.
I know, it's not a good joke. Anyway, speaking of technology, like I said, we got our first official voicemail message from a listener.
Okay.
Yeah, are you excited about this?
I'm so excited. I want to hear it.
Yeah, it's
as long as it's better than eat a bag of dicks, because I am famished from eating all those dicks.
You're a good dick eater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even think I even said the phone number last time because I was kind of giving up on the fact. But then I realized that this show, as of recording the show right now, it has only been live and on the internet for a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I was thinking people were going to call
barely.
when they haven't even heard it yet. So anyway, if you do want to call, like this fine gentleman we're about to listen to, the number is 607-319 AHI5, which is AHI5. Or 607-319-2445 if you want to go that route. And yeah, I mean, if you want to call, just whatever. If you have something you think we want to talk about, or you want to talk about, or you want us to talk about, or if you know us and there's some shit you want to bring up, or something that we said was wrong, which I've heard a lot, by the way. I guess, you have a spot on memory. But man, I have the worst memory in the world because
why people have been calling you out on?
Yeah, no, not it hasn't been like an epidemic, but yeah, like there's been a few mentions of like, oh, by the way, that story didn't happen there. It actually happened here, or it didn't go down that way. And it's not anything. It's not like I'm making shit up. It's just like
it was 20 years ago.
It's just getting. I can't remember yesterday. I don't know what is wrong with my fucking memory. So anyway, this guy called. I listened to the message. You haven't listened to it. And first off, he didn't leave his name or where he's from. If you're gonna call, at least do that so we can at least give you a, as the kids say, shout out.
Yeah. It's a crying shame.
You know how it is. And you call a radio station. They say, "What's your name? Where are you from? What's your name? Where are you from?" So, but this guy. So you want to listen to it?
Of course.
Okay. Are you sure?
Of course.
Positive?
course.
You want to hear a? All right, sorry. Now we're gonna listen to. Here we go. So pay attention to it because we're gonna have to answer things after this.
All right, I'm paying attention.
Right,
Yeah,
here we go.
I'm here.
Devin and Ritchie, the Awkward High Five podcast, first ever voicemail.
All right, so I'm going to preface this with, I heard this question asked on another podcast where, random schmucks like me call in and, give this topics of discussion. So here we go. You have 4 numbers, 6, 12, 18, and 24. And you have 4 activities. Miles to run, beers to drink, donuts to eat, or times to jerk off. You have to do one of those activities per number. So you can either jerk off 6 times in a day, drink 12 beers, run 18 miles, or eat 24 donuts, or any variation of activities to numbers. So you could do 6 donuts, 24 miles, 12 times jerking off, and drink 18 beers.
This goes on, huh?
Which way do you guys go? I go run 12 miles, 18 beers, jerk off 6, 24 donuts. Let me know.
All right.
You got that?
I didn't really keep track of it. But
once math got involved, you kind of dipped out.
Exactly. But from what I heard.
Okay, go ahead. Say what you heard.
All right. So what he's giving us an option of all those.
So there's 4 activities and there's 4 numbers involved. Now, first off, let me say that he started this by saying that he heard this on another podcast. So already we're doing another podcast.
He heard what on another podcast?
He heard this concept on another podcast where I guess somebody had called in and brought it up. And normally I wouldn't be so ready to do that. But since this is our first actual caller, I'm putting it on and we're doing this, okay? Because I want people to call and thank you for that call, whoever you are, mystery caller, and thank you for that concept. So there's 6, 12, 18, 24, which are all multiples of 6.
Okay,
you following along? Get your textbook.
Yes.
And then there's 4 activities, which are drinking beer, joking off. Eating donuts, which is weird because we're not 4, and running.
All right.
An activity that I enjoy myself.
All right.
So you have to now allot those 4 activities into those 4 numbers and say how you do it, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, all right. So
me first?
Sure.
All right. Well, number 1 would definitely be eating the donuts.
Okay. So that would be how many donuts? You see what I'm saying?
Well, what's the highest number? Because I guarantee you I'll bury the shit out of whatever number he proposed.
No. Well, it's only 4 numbers, so so you have to imagine like on those like aptitude tests where there's four columns on the right side and then 4 columns on the left side, and you have to like draw a line to each one. That's what it is. Numbers to activities.
Okay.
So you're saying now that you want donuts to take up to 24.
Right.
So you will eat 24 donuts, 2 dozen donuts.
Correct.
Okay, that's nuts. Go ahead.
And what's next on his list?
Well, you got 3 more activities. You got jerking off, running, and drinking beers.
Jerking off, running, and drinking beers.
And then you have 6, 12, and 18 left.
All right, so next would definitely be drinking beers.
And so that would be 18.
That would be
so we're descending in numbers here.
All right, so beers would be 18.
Okay, so you're gonna eat 24 donuts, 18 beers, and then for 12,
there's running and what else?
And jerking off.
And jerking off.
And I'm guessing this is all in one day. I mean, because
all right,
it would be kind of silly if this was in a year or something like that.
All right, so next would definitely be jerking off
12 times.
12 times
in one day.
In one day.
God bless.
I mean, never done it, but if that's part of the rules, then I'll do it way before running. So I'll do the 12 jerks, and I'll do the running last of however many that is.
That's 6. And number 1, I'm going to give you, just for even paying attention here, Richard, you're going to...
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. You did much better than I thought you would.
I appreciate that.
No problem. Are you going to listen back to this episode and say you didn't sound good?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to go with... see, the jerking off thing is... I mean, I can't comprehend doing that. I'm just trying to be pragmatic about this. I couldn't comprehend doing that more than, I don't know, twice. So I'm just going to have to say the jerk off is 6. I'm going to go up in the numbers. So let's say the jerk off is 6. And then I'm going to say I'm going to run. No, but see, that's hard because, you know what? I'll take that back. Jerk off 6, donut 12, and even though that's disgusting,
you don't eat that much.
Well, especially donuts. I mean, if they were good donuts. And when I hear somebody say donuts, I think of Dunkin' Donuts, which are just shitty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess if they were good, like actually like homemade donuts, but even then,
hot donuts.
I just couldn't. I can't do it. So yeah. So I'm gonna have to go jerk off 6, donut 12, run 18. And then beers would have to be 24 because I've actually drank 24 beers in one day before. That's the only one of these. Well, I've never. I was about to say I ran 18 miles, but I never have.
Especially with this weather kicking in, damn, you gotta turn around at like what 3:34.
Oh, what? Because
the
of
darkness,
the sun coming down. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I mean, guess that's what I'm gonna do. So there we are. That we answered the question. I don't know if that was interesting or not.
I hope that listener heard this and was, pleased with our answer.
my brother texted me the other day, and he said that he was watching a Pauly Shore movie, and
don't even say that I remind him of Pauly Shore.
That's exactly what he said,
dude. When I went to barber school, everyone said that you're Pauly Shore, you're Pauly Shore. So of course I hit him with the donuts and our glaze. We's in the Jew, so they would get a kick out of it,
They would get a crick out of it. Yeah. I mean, and the reason I just thought of that is because what you were just saying before that, it did sound like Pauly. You do sound like Pauly Shore.
Yeah, I guess I am.
Especially when you're in a very relaxed state as you are right now. You're the weasel.
I am.
Do you like long-haired Pauly Shore or freaky short-haired Pauly Shore better?
Long.
What's your favorite Pauly Shore film?
I'm gonna have to go Encino Man.
Yeah, me too. I wish I had a different. To make it interesting on here, I wish I had a different opinion, but I can't. I mean, it's just the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's by far the best.
It's the best, and I love Pauly Shore. But to me, the best part of that movie.
Don't fucking say Sean Astin. I will fucking.
Who's Sean Astin?
The lead,
the
dick.
bully.
No. Oh, you're talking about the bully.
The bully.
Yeah, no, he is by shush.
Yeah,
by far the best.
The best part is when he pins him up on the thing and he goes, some of us pump and some of us slump. You may try a little bit more pump. It may clear up your acne. And that's the best part.
The best part of that, and oh God, man, I used to be obsessed with this guy. What was his name? Is Matthew Matt something? I think might be the actor's name.
He was Matt in the movie.
Oh, he was? Yeah. Well, yeah, I used to actually know the actor's name because I loved him so much. Yeah. But the best part of that movie is when they're in the lunchroom, I think, and Sean Astin, the stupid Hobbit guy Rudy.
Rudy.
He looks over and at that girl that he's crushing on, and like she smiles and waves, and then the other guy just comes into frame and gives him and like shakes his head. There's actually a GIF or GIF.
It looks right at him like.
Yeah, he's the best. Or at the end when he's on stage because he found out that he's a caveman and he thinks everyone's gonna get behind him, and he gets on stage and he's like, "I got something to say. He's a caveman."
Yeah.
I love that dude.
Love him.
You're very Pauly Shore-ish today, though.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought you were offended by that. I thought you don't like that.
Well, I didn't like it, when people... I thought maybe they meant I looked like Pauly Shore.
You do kind of have a Pauly Shore thing going.
Do I?
I'm
not Jewish, though.
Is he Jewish?
Of course he's Jewish.
Mitzi Shore was his mom. She owns she owned the comedy club out in L.A. forever. So Shore is a Jewish last name?
Dude, you're pretty much not that funny unless you're Jewish.
Well, neither of us are Jewish, so I guess that explains that.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm Italian, so that's kind of like,
Yeah, you guys do kind of look alike. Yeah. The Jews and Italians do brush up against each other pretty easily. Well, I guess Italian people is like you take a Jewish guy and you take a black person and you mix them together and you got the Italianos.
Only from the waist down.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember? I'm not going to use names here. But I was dating a fine young lady for a short while back in the day. Do you remember this? And she was of the Jewish persuasion, but I didn't know that because her last name was a color.
She kept on the wraps.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. No. That's not what you're thinking of.
A different Jew?
Yeah. No,
Oh, okay.
The one you're thinking of isn't Jewish. She's just, whatever. But this girl was actually Jewish.
She spinned the dreidel.
But I never saw her actually spin the dreidel. But I'm sure she spins the dreidel. She definitely, puts blood on her door every year or whatever. I don't.
Really?
No, I don't have no idea.
Okay.
She rubs the mezuzah at the when she walks into the house. No, she beautiful girl. Me and her were enjoying each other's company for a brief moment in time, and her last name was a color, and so
that's usually a sign of a Jew.
Well, but here's my thing: because of that color, and I guess you're gonna guess what color it is after this, but I thought that she was Irish for some reason because of the color and that usually goes with Irish. I have no idea why. I don't know if there was that extraneous E at the end of it. I don't think I ever saw her last name in print. I have no idea. But I remember it was a while after me and her weren't hanging out anymore, and we were all partying one night. You were there, and we were talking about women that we had not been with. So like, people were saying like, oh, I'd never been with a black chick, or I'd never been in blah blah blah, and I said I'd never been with a Jewish chick, and you were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? I've never been with a Jewish chick."
Why? I've never been with a Jewish chick.
No, but you were saying, "Are you fucking kidding me?" to me because you knew that I had, because you knew that chick was Jewish, and she was so obviously Jewish. Now that I look back at it, she was like so obviously Jewish, but I was such an idiot that I had no. I was with her for a few weeks, and I had no idea that she was Jewish. And you're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then you said her name, and I still didn't understand. I was like, "Yeah, that's Irish." I had no fucking clue.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. See, that's the whole thing about being Jewish. It doesn't matter where you're, what nation you're from. Judaism is a religion.
Well, but that is confusing because there's Jewish people that are from
Jerusalem, and that's their race.
Okay,
but then you could be Jewish no matter where you live
because of the religion part of it.
Right.
But Jewish is also a people. People look a certain way, in you know what I mean, and that kind of thing. Damn it, I said you know what I mean. But yeah, so. I'm going to be honest. At 35 years old, I've never actually really got that. I understand the religion part, and I understand, but people from that area of the earth are Jewish. Mm-hmm. But there's
the Gaza Strip,
the West Bank, the Gaza Strip. The
pretty soon, Jerusalem's going to be Oregon, so it doesn't matter.
What does that mean?
I heard it in a joke, so I thought I'd spread it.
What horrible joke was that in like one of those funny jokes from the 50s books?
No, it wasn't a book. Someone said it. So I was like, maybe he's right.
Who said it?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
Whoever said that, don't ever listen to him again because it doesn't even make any sense.
It might have been Bill Burr, so we can't 86 Burr.
They said that Jerusalem is going to be Oregon?
Yeah, it was a joke, but...
Well, they're going to have a trail where kids die of dysentery? I don't get it.
Yeah, reopen the Oregon Trail.
But in Jerusalem?
Yeah. They'll start the Oregon
Israel?
Trail.
We keep saying Jerusalem, but we should be saying Israel.
Right. Yeah, well, they'll start the Oregon Trail for like really good graphic, like PS4, and it will be a great game.
And it'd be called the West Bank or the Gaza Strip?
Something. But I just thought it was so hilarious in that game when it would say like, oh, sorry, you lost. 5 minutes into the game, your whole family died of dysentery.
I just said that, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the dysentery.
I'm like, great, we're 3 years old. We all have dysentery. What the fuck does that mean?
I never knew, I didn't know what dysentery was until I heard it again years and years later in a No Effects song.
Me too.
And I was like, oh wait, dysentery, isn't that Oregon Trail thing? And then I finally, after, I don't know, 10 years, fucking decided.
I'm still a little hazy on dysentery.
It's basically just really bad diarrhea.
That's what I thought. You shit and puke out your mouth, right?
I don't know about the mouth part, but I know that you do have some pretty violent diarrhea out of the asshole, to use a technical term. To use a medical term, I'm going to say your fart box. Right out of your fart box, all that shit comes out and then you die. But see, back then, actually, I don't know, dysentery might just be diarrhea, but back then you could die of diarrhea, or like, or like when that little bitch,
You could die of a hangnail.
Sure, if it got infected, I guess. If that little fucking, you always had that little bitch dude on Oregon Trail who always broke his leg, and I always just wanted to fucking leave him because what are you gonna do when somebody breaks his fucking leg? What are you scrolling through text there while we're trying to do a show?
I'm sorry, I gotta see if this is important. It'll take 2 seconds.
Oh yeah,
If I can figure out what swipe means.
just seeing you with technology in your hands is
Yeah, but look at this phone. This is like straight out of Bradley's.
No, we established that already. It's definitely a burner phone.
Yeah.
Damn
you, Bradley's.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to talk about a text message that I got now that we're talking about phones, which is pretty interesting. Is so when I was living in Jersey City and I was working in Manhattan, the Big Apple, you would use every once in a while. I would use a delivery service to buy marijuana.
Yeah, I was talking about that today with someone.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was. This is what I'm getting at. It was, as people who live in the area probably know, and probably have used before. It's like a real deal thing. Of course, it's still illegal. But as far as being a legit business as it can with being illegal, that's what it was. So you would basically, I had the phone number, I would text them, I would say, and they would tell me where they're going to be in a half hour, like meet me on the corner of 14th and 6th or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they didn't show up at your door like, there's something about leaky pipes or empty pipes?
Oh, no. It wasn't door to door. You went down and met. Normally what would happen was you would text them. They would say, meet me. I'll be in a black Honda Civic on the corner of 14th and 6th in 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then they roll up and then you get in their car. And then all of a sudden it's like, hi, how are you today? What kind of high were you looking for? Would you like an Ithaca or sativa? Or you want like a body high or a mind high? They would like break out a bar, like a whole thing of weed and being like, today's special is, and it was like a real deal thing,
That's so cool.
So yeah, it was cool and they were reliable and it was a little on the pricey side, but it was so much easier than dealing with like your regular pot dealers who like you can't get in touch with for 2 days and you don't know what's going on and everything like that.
And you get a 0.7.
Right. And right, exactly. And so anyway, I used them. I didn't use them a lot. And like I said before, I'm not the world's biggest pot smoker, but I would use them every once in a while. Actually, one time, I was so used to them always coming in cars. Maybe like the 6th or 7th time that I called them, I was at work at the time. And I needed a little something for the weekend. I think it was a Friday night. Mm-hmm. So I texted them and they said, I forget the girl's name. It was like Jill. Let's just call her Jill. Okay. It was well, I wonder why that name's on my mind. Anyways, there was a fucking they said Jill will be on the corner of 17th and 5th. She's on foot, and I was like, "Whoa, this is weird," because now we're gonna have to do the deal right out in public. I mean, granted, it's fucking Manhattan, nobody fucking cares, but still, I'm so used to just jumping in the car, them driving around the block, and then dropping me back off, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's nice.
And so they were like, Jill will be on the corner wearing a blue sweatsuit, right? And I was like, okay. So I'm walking. I was a little late, so I knew she was going to be there already. I had trouble getting outside, and I'm walking over to the corner, and I'm looking at the corner, and there's this old Asian lady in a blue sweatsuit, like standing near the pole or whatever. And I'm like walking up and I'm like, fuck, am I gonna have to walk up to the old Asian lady? Like, she didn't look friendly. She didn't look,
what you want?
And so I finally got my nerve up. I was like, all right, this is a little bit weird, but you've used this service a few times. Just go. She said she's going to be there. Nobody else here is wearing a blue sweatsuit, so just go walk up to this lady. So I got my nerve up. I'm walking up to this Asian lady. as I'm walking up to her and about to fucking talk to her, I look across the street on the other corner of the street, and I see this fucking chick leaning up against the wall in a blue sweatsuit with fucking dreadlocks.
Asian?
No, just a regular white chick who was obviously the girl. I was about to walk up to this old Asian lady in a blue sweatsuit and be like, "You got my weed?" And her be like, "What the hell?" Yeah. So I finally walked away anyway. So it's been a while since I've worked in the city and I've lived in that area, and I obviously haven't used the service in a while, and I get this text the other day, which is pretty cool. Hey, long time. Hope all is well. We just reaching out on how our service has been. If you still using us, I guess the grammar isn't the greatest. Feel free to reach out. Would love to hear some feedback. Thanks. This is from a drug dealing syndicate.
Yeah.
Threw out a text, actually realized that one of their customers hadn't used them in a while. You know, and again, we're talking about Manhattan here, so I'm sure they have tons of customers. It's not like they have this local, you know,
right.
They probably have a huge amount of customers, and they went out of their way to text me to kind of like it's almost like they have their own customer retention fucking thing.
They don't want to lose clients. Well, it could be one or another. They don't want to lose clients, or they're like, where'd this guy go? Was he informant?
No. Well, you know, when something gets that big, it's almost like the cops have to know that they're fucking out there doing that. You know, like they're either paying whoever they need to pay off or whatever. But I just thought it was pretty interesting that that just goes to show how far. And I'm only talking about pot. I don't believe that they deal any other drugs. Mm-hmm. They're just a weed dealer, and I mean, I almost don't even want to call pot a drug. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's weird how far that's come in even our lifetime, and now with like everything getting legalized and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But to have a legit business that would work, you know, I spent I don't know, like $500-600 at Best Buy the other day. I haven't heard anything from them saying, "Hey, how was your purchase?
Yeah,
where have you been?" or anything like that. These weed dealers actually hit me up and tried to get me back as a customer. Like, hey, just want to make sure everything's all right. You know, like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty fucking interesting.
Well, you want to know something I want to share is a few episodes ago, I went on a really serious rant about how much I don't like Chris Christie.
Well, it wasn't so much Chris Christie. It was more his mother.
It was more his mother.
His fat mother is what you kept saying.
Yeah, because, you know, the way he talks and the things he says and the looks on his face reminds me.
And the air he breathes.
The air he, breathes through his nose. It's just...
And his camel toe and his baseball uniform.
I saw a video online of Chris Christie, and it was very moving. And it was about how he needs to treat addicts more than lock them up. And he really wanted, because a good friend of his that he went to law school with was like the head of their class, started his own firm.
Was his name Dennis Blunden?
He wasn't Blunden, but, you know, Christie was probably Blunden.
That's ahead of the class, right?
Yeah, I know. But I'm sure Christie was Blunden.
Yeah, actually, Christie probably was Blunden.
Yeah.
His friend was probably that skinny dork in the corner.
Yeah.
Who was always fussing with electronics.
So
and I'm Robin Gibbons.
What Christie proposed was, we need to stop locking up these drug addicts for such minor offenses and get them the help that they need.
Yeah.
And what stemmed this conversation was that when he went to law school, he was really good friends with this guy who was the smartest out of all of them. Mm-hmm. Straight out of college, joined a law firm, became, you know, a partner, head of the firm, was making millions of dollars, beautiful wife, beautiful family, and he didn't want to give in to age because he was a health nut.
Okay.
So he would go jogging, his early morning jog, and he hurt up his back, and they gave him painkillers.
The old, 1-2 punch.
Yep. So, and his life started going downhill, lost the kids, lost the job, was unable to practice. And he said he received the phone call that he was fearing to receive, that the man was cooped up in a hotel room with an empty bottle of Percocets, an empty bottle of vodka, and the man was dead.
Right.
So
Pills and alcohol, man. Pills and alcohol.
It doesn't discriminate. You know what I mean? No matter how great of a person you are, no matter how much you got your shit together, it will grab a hold of you and ruin your life.
Well, I mean, we just and you're struggling with this,
And you know what, Dev? I mean, I don't want to disappoint any listeners, but I really feel like maybe some people are listening for this reason, but my set goal, and it has been in my head for days now, that by Christmas, this will be completely out of my life.
Well, it makes me feel good to hear you say that, and I'm glad you're setting a goal. And I believe me when I say that I hope that happens. But it's a much harder path to make a road to hoe there than
I know.
And it's great, and I'm glad that you're actually thinking about this, and that is part of this podcast. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this is I knew once you got it. Number one, I know how funny and charismatic and interesting of a guy you are, but I also knew that you weren't doing much. You're going to work, and you're coming home, and you're getting high. And we weren't playing music anymore, and I know a lot of that's my fault. But whatever. But what I'm saying is that there is no like creative outlet, and I knew, not only did I know that doing this would be interesting and fun, and people would want to listen to it because of our personalities or whatever, take that as you will. But I also hoped, I guess I should say, in the back of my mind, that maybe this might steer your attention a little bit away from the only thing they're doing is just getting high.
It totally is, because the only thing, like, the way I used to look forward to doing my drugs, I look forward to doing to this podcast.
Okay.
It's like my new drug.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
so why Christmas? So let me ask you this: why is Christmas the marker?
Because I feel like it takes a little bit of time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not something I could just do overnight.
And are you going to are you going to try to? I know that you've gone to rehabs before. Are you going to try to go to a rehab? Or are you going to try to kick this cold turkey? I mean, you obviously can't kick it cold turkey, right?
Well,
that's dangerous to do.
Yeah, it's very dangerous to do cold turkey. But what I am going to do is I'm going to buy a bunch of Suboxone.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and, because I've learned through rehab the proper way to use the Suboxone.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and do that myself, because I have done it myself with the Suboxone. But, it failed, of course.
Right.
But I'm going to try and do it myself with the Suboxone. But what I didn't have last time that I took the Suboxone, and what I have this time doing, because last time I did the Suboxone, I had absolutely nothing but my job.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had no friends. I had just my job.
Right.
I had a girl.
Which isn't the most glamorous job anyway. It's not like something. It's not like a career, let's say.
Right.
And I'm not saying that as anything bad to you, but
No.
I mean, shit, I don't even have a job. So.
Right. I had a girlfriend that I really wasn't that into.
Got it.
That always kept me like with my anxiety level at a high.
Right.
And
was that, and let me ask if that girlfriend, I don't even know which girlfriend you're talking about, but was that girlfriend also into drugs?
Yes.
Okay. And that's a hard equation, that's a hard thing when you're with somebody. And I even know that just with alcohol, I've had girlfriends before that are heavy drinkers, and then you just become a heavy drinker, and I'm prone to being a heavy drinker anyway, but there's times where I'll be like, oh man, I don't want to drink this week, but then if you're living with somebody or the person you're with is always drinking, then you're gonna end up drinking.
You hear that bottle of wine pop and you're like, ooh.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna have a drink.
Right. No, I get that.
And I know a lot of addicts say, "Oh, stay away from everything because something's gonna trigger something."
Right.
But I feel like that's not the kind of guy I am. Like,
well, you don't know, though.
I don't know, and I will soon find out. And if it leads to that, then maybe I'll have to cut out the drink. But my thing is that, again, I don't want to Barry Horowitz myself, who was the old school wrestler who had the handprint on his back that like to patted himself on the back.
You should have just let the Barry Horowitz reference just lay there for anybody.
See, because you describe what I say, so I just thought I'd do it.
Let me decide whether that's all
right. So I didn't want to Barry Horowitz myself.
Who, by the way, is a wrestler that pats himself on the back. No.
Yeah, and he's got a handprint on his back, so every time he does something well, he pats himself on the back. Well, I didn't want to Barry Horowitz myself. Exactly. So
I never thought I'd hear Barry Horowitz said 4 times in this podcast.
Oh my God, you're gonna hear a lot of things.
All right, good.
So
kind of sounds like you're Barry Horowitz in yourself, though.
am I Barry Horowitz myself? But no, I wanted to do it my way because, you know, like I said, all rehab did was make me hear not horror stories, but other people's stories about trying to one-up each other about how fucked up they got. And then when you go to meetings, it's almost the same thing. And half the people at the meetings are high. So it works for some people. But to me, I feel like I have to do it for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because, like, I'm, like we always say, you always say, I always say, we're not conceited. We're not vain. We're not, you know, we don't think we're better than everybody else. But I feel like I'm number one. You know?
Sure. Well, of course. Yeah, of course you have to look out for yourself. I mean, you have to look out for yourself before you can look out for anybody else. That's not being conceited. You know, taking care of your health, taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health, taking care of your overall well-being first. That's just the first step in being able to contribute to society or anything like that. So that's not being conceited. That you have to do that. You know?
Right. Well, I do. That's the thing. I do. I don't lock myself in my room and cry if I don't have drugs. If I'm sick, I get up and go to work. You know what I mean? I'll never turn something away because I'm not on drugs. You know what I mean? But I want to be me. I want to be RTG from 10 years ago because I noticed that was a better person than I am now.
Okay.
So I'd rather be that person than this person.
Right.
You know?
No, that's great. And I'm glad. Number one, I'm glad that you're thinking about this finally. And number two, I'm glad that you're willing to bring this up here on this podcast because, it gives the chance for the listener at home to maybe, get behind you a little bit. If there's people out there that are suffering the same way, and you want to, I told that guy to say his name before, but you could always call or write an email, anonymously.
Anonymous.
See, I told you can't talk to you anonymously.
Hey, I haven't not heard one of what.
You just said it twice during that.
Did I?
Yeah.
Damn.
But
ding-a-ling.
But you could always call in or email in and talk about it as well, because that is we're trying to mess around and have fun in here, but I mean ultimately at the end of the day that is what we're trying to do with this podcast, is talk about the shit that you go through in life, and you're going through some shit in life right now, and
it sucks.
Yeah, and I see you when you're high. Mm-hmm. And it's not.
And I hate the way that you are when you see me when I'm high. Like, it bothers me. It's
right.
Like, where the fuck is my best friend?
Right.
know?
Well, it's hard because for me, to be totally honest, it's hard for me to see you that way. We've spent our life getting messed up with each other, drinking alcohol, smoking weed, whatever, and just like, best friends would do. But when you're into what you're into, it's kind of it's a different thing. It's not a fun thing,
No, it's not.
and every time that you are messed up, I told you when we started this that there was going to be no judgment, and I am holding to that. I'm not sitting here ever saying you got to get clean, you got to do this, you got to do that. I told you that this was going to be an open and fair place for you, and without any judgment on my side of things, and I'm going to keep it that way. But what I'm saying. The way I feel when I see you when you're like that is that kind of, it's, I don't want to say disappointment because I'm not your father.
No, I'm sure it's disappointment.
But it just makes me, I'm just like, oh man, come on, seriously?
Yeah.
Because like I said in the last podcast, I don't know what Richie I'm getting sometimes.
Right.
You're always funny and you're always interesting, whether you're stoned or not. But like when I meet up with you to do this podcast, and we don't really hang out much besides this,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I like,
oh man, real quick,
yeah,
that after the last podcast that night we spent in your backyard listening to the old Lint demo,
okay,
that could have been one of a most uplifting time. Not uplifting, but one of the funniest times I've had in my life.
Really?
Like, damn, I wanted to hang out with you so bad on Saturday. I slept all all day on Saturday, and I was like, fuck, I was supposed to hang out with Deb because I wanted that to continue.
That's fine.
Because that was so much fun.
Yeah, it's
that
all
was
good.
So much fun.
Yeah, we hung out after Friday night after we're done with the podcast. We hung out for a little bit and had a couple drinks and listened to our old high school band, which is something that we don't normally do.
Never.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but we're playing around with the idea of doing a one-off kind of reunion show for this band. So I guess what we're doing is we're kind of reintroducing ourselves to this material.
Also, a reason why I posted that on Facebook.
Yeah, you posted one of the songs on Facebook.
Just trying to give a little foreshadowing.
Look at you posting on Facebook.
You like
not
that?
only did you post on Facebook, you linked a YouTube video to Facebook.
Yeah,
That is some advanced shit right there, Richard.
Before you know,
You might have a job in IT before you know it.
Before you know it, Zuckerberg is going to be hiring me.
He might do that. I don't know.
You never know.
Zuck is gonna.
Yeah, the big Zook.
Um,
Zuko.
So how did we even get to this point? Oh, anyway, what I'm saying is that it is hard for me as a friend. I'm able to kind of push that aside in order to do this podcast and be, I guess, for lack of a better term, business partners with you the way we are right now, trying to do this. And I do like having kind of like a non-judgmental area when these microphones are on, because it kind of lets whatever's going to happen.
Me too.
You know,
Me too.
but as a friend,
when that show was over and we hung out and we listened to that was just like, you know.
Right, but you weren't. But you know, to break down the fourth wall a little bit, you weren't fucked up that night.
Right.
Well, not to the point of you like eyes slammed shut, talking like Kermit the Frog.
Well, once we smoked that herb, then definitely my eyes slammed. Like you could have.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you being on heroin.
You could have a bag of weed in your pocket, and my eyes will slam shut.
But I'm talking about, you know, that night when you were up, you were chipper, you were doing your thing, you know. So we hung out for a little bit afterwards.
Friday. I mean, I love doing it here, man. But Fridays are my. They're my safe haven. Like, I love coming over on a Friday. I love doing the show at your house on a Friday. It's so much fun.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, I think I don't know. I think it's good that you said that, but now you've said that in front of an audience. I mean, it's we're gonna have to kind of hold your feet to the fire over this.
Yeah.
But I mean, but also it's not, you know, it's not gonna be, if you don't make it by Christmas, don't feel like it's.
That's it. No, I won't ever give up. I won't ever give up.
Okay.
Never.
That'll be interesting.
But it's good to set a goal.
Okay.
It's good to set a goal.
Right.
And, you know, God forbid it doesn't happen, you know, nothing's going to change. You know?
Well, but I mean, it's not
going to be like, damn, I didn't do it. Now I got to do more. You know?
Yeah, I know. I think the thing is kind of just that you're at least thinking about this now. You know,
course. Well, I've always
that's the step forward that I'm seeing here. Whether or not you're totally clean by Christmas, if you did, that would be miraculous and amazing, and it would be the best Christmas present ever. But the fact that you're even evaluating, you know, because a lot of people go through their lives and don't even think about their shit. They're just content with whatever situation that they're in. So even just the fact of even thinking about, I'm not happy with this and I want to make a change, is a good step in the right direction, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I've always thought about it. And another point that I brought up, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but I was talking to somebody, and what I said was, you know, I'm an addict to a certain extent, and I don't understand the fact that certain drug addicts, you know, lose or quit their jobs and live on the streets and beg for money just to, you know, feed their habit. When it's like, you're a drug addict. You have your life, plus you have to feed your addiction.
Well, some people can do that.
Why the hell are you not working?
Some people can do it, some people can't. You know, some people can.
I don't understand that phenomenon.
Well, you're a what is considered a functional addict. You know, or just like there's functional alcoholics and there's non-functional alcoholics. and
It
I
makes
don't.
no sense to me.
Well, it doesn't make any sense to you, but I guess in a certain way, some people. It doesn't mean that they don't want to work, but some people might just be so far down the fucking rabbit hole with this shit that they're not going to be able to get a job anywhere because people see them immediately. Like there's a look to heroin addicts, to opiate people. There's almost like I've always said that I feel like the real deal heroin addicts are like the people that you see outside of a methadone clinic. It's almost like that's it removes a chromosome in this same way that like Down syndrome does.
Yeah, sunken in face.
Yeah, like
up.
yeah, you're something in
Looking
your
like
DNA
Macaulay.
changes that you all look the same. Like in the same way that Down syndrome children can be totally different races and totally different ethnic backgrounds and all that, and then but they still kind of have that same face. If you're that far into a heroin addiction, or any opiate addiction, I suppose, you could. What I'm saying is, you could basically spot somebody like that from a mile away. Yeah. It might be because you're my best friend, and I don't want to see you in this way. But from what I could tell, you don't have that yet. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean yet? If I did, it would have definitely happened already.
Oh, I don't know. Or maybe it's. I have no idea. But
I do have to share one thing though.
Okay, share away. This is your show. You can.
It's not my show. It's our show, my friend. But no, I went to the doctor the other day. He said I have high blood pressure.
Okay. That's not good.
So what do you do about that?
You take blood pressure pills.
And that's it?
That's it. And it regulates it, yep.
So who gives you those pills?
The doctor.
The doctor.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This doctor is going to give you pills, and you're going to take them, and you're not going to get high from them. I know that's going to be a new experience for you.
I know that. I just want this high blood pressure to go away because, I asked the nurse. I said, "So high blood pressure, what does that mean? What does that mean?" The first thing she did, she turns around, looks at me, and goes, "You could get a stroke."
Right.
And when she said that, I was like, "Holy shit! I had one when I was 3. I don't want another one."
You got a stroke when you were 3?
Yeah. Remember, my whole face went.
No, that was Bell's palsy.
That's a form of a stroke.
I don't think it is. You know what? We're not fucking doctors, so we shouldn't talk about this.
You're right.
But I know people that have had that the palsy thing in their face, where the west side of their face like sags for a few days and then it goes back. It has something to do with nerve endings dying or some shit like that. Yes, blood pressure is the layman's term for what is called hypertension.
Okay.
And
so I'm a calm dude. Why?
It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, number one, you're getting older. Number two,
I gotta start eating right.
You eat like shit.
I eat like shit.
And three, you do drugs and you abuse toxicants. I mean, that's what it is. I also suffer from high blood pressure.
You're a healthy dude.
Well, but for a while there, I wasn't. I was overweight. At one point, I was severely overweight, and
but shouldn't you just lose a foot for that?
And I was that's diabetes.
Oh yeah, right.
And I drank like crazy. When I was in my my mid to late 20s, I was definitely overweight, and I drank all the time, and I ate like shit. And for a while, and they told me that I had a high blood pressure. Now, since I haven't been working and I haven't had health insurance, I've kind of gone off the blood pressure medication. But I also did that like by testing myself and like exercising. Number one, I've dropped a ton of weight. I've been exercising and eating healthy, and none of this is interesting to the listener at home. But I also had one of those home blood.
But there's people that have the same shit going on.
I had one of those home blood pressure things that I would test myself, and I went off the pills for like a few days, and I tested it. And actually, to be honest with you, I never believed that I actually had high blood pressure.
I know, I was in denial.
And one time when I still was overweight, when I still was drinking like a fish, when I was still eating like shit. I stopped taking the blood pressure pills for 2 weeks, and then I went to I went for my checkup, and the doctor put a thing around, and he's like, "Yep, perfect blood pressure. Looks like those pills are working." And I was like, "Well, actually, doc, I haven't taken one in 2 weeks." And then he was kind of like, "Well, you need to get back on him and whatever." And I always took him as a precaution. Mm-hmm. And once I have health insurance, I'll start taking them again. But I could definitely say that I've been able to regulate my blood pressure just through exercise and meditation and eating healthy and all the things that I do on a daily basis. And if you try to go out there onto the internet and read about high blood pressure, there's a ton of people out there that say don't ever take blood pressure medication. They say
Really?
it's horrible for you.
Really?
But you know the other side of that is, you could have really high blood pressure and have a stroke. You don't want to have a stroke.
My hypothesis behind this
okay.
Was that, I'd work all day, I'd sweat all day, I'd sweat out all the toxins, and then I'd go straight to band practice or to a show where I'd get behind the drums and sweat and sweat and sweat again to where I feel like my body was cleansing itself, and I would just drink water, sometimes brews, but... I would mostly drink water behind the drums, and I feel like that was a big cleansing,
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's not the way it works.
Has nothing to do with
just because you feel that way, it doesn't,
right. I thought all that sweating was a positive.
Sweating is definitely a positive, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to have high blood pressure. Okay. Some people just have high blood pressure, it runs in their family. Some people have high blood pressure because of their lifestyle choices, which I think is the column that you fall into.
Yeah.
But I
showed you a picture of that big boy slice today over the phone.
That big boy slice looks amazing, but to eat one of those every day is all another thing.
Well, I'm like once every three times a week I eat that damn thing. Oh my
if it was the big boy slice instead of donuts, would it still be 24?
I don't know. What's the difference?
No, I'm talking about that thing that guy called in before. If you substitute the donuts for big boy slices, would that still be the number 24? Never mind. You forgot about that part of the show?
No, I just can't substitute anything for the big boy slice. That damn thing is so good.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you have high blood pressure, but I mean, you just get the fucking get the pills and you'll be okay.
The pills, yeah. Well, I gotta find a doctor first.
So you heard that, ladies and gentlemen. Pauly Shore is here today, and he said that not only is he going to be clean by Christmas, but he's also has high blood pressure. So
maybe I got the high blood pressure from wheezing the juice, buddy.
No, man, I'm glad that you said that, and I really do. I miss your taste and your see-through. I really do hope that you stick with this, but. Yeah. What I know, I am personally now that you have said this, I'm definitely going to, like I said before, be holding your feet to the fire to this. I mean, we're going to be doing these podcasts, so this is something that's going to have to come up, and I think I've skated the issue a little bit, like on how I perceived how high you or not you were during episodes and stuff like that. But if you're making a conscious effort to get clean or whatever, then we're going to be paying close attention to it. And I'm speaking for the audience here.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Is it too late to sign up for Obamacare? Is it no?
I have no idea.
I think I'm going to do that.
Okay.
If I can.
I don't. We'll figure that out off there. But anyway, thank you for listening. This is the Awkward Hi-Fi podcast. You can go to awkwardhi5.com for all the episodes, and follow us on Awkward Hi-5. That's HI5, the number 5 at Twitter. And you can email us at awkwardhi5podcast@gmail.com.
And if you have any opinions on how I could lower my blood pressure, please call in. 'Cause I'm a nervous boy.
If there's any doctors or nurses out there, give us a call and let us know, because Richie's worried.
Thanks.
All right, see you next time.
Surrounded by seeds, I'm lost in the trees. My thirst and hunger seem to increase. The music we made is one to be loved. Every time I dream.
Thanks for listening to the Awkward Hi-5 podcast. For more episodes, visit awkwardhi5.com.